A panel of advisors to the FDA voted not to recommend expedited clearance for a drug for a rare, deadly muscle-destroying disease, a story that we've been following here. Shares of Sarepta, the maker of that medicine, tumbled 26%. And as Meg Tirrell reports from Hyattsville, Maryland, last night's decision crushed the hopes of patients and families living with that disease.
The most important 3 minutes of my life.
It was an emotional event that lasted nearly 12 hours and which ended in heartbreak for many. On one side, the FDA, unconvinced enough evidence exists to approve a drug for a devastating disease. On the other, hundreds of patients and advocates convinced this experimental medicine is their best hope.
These boys are defying natural history. We know that because their treating clinicians see it, their parents see it, and the patients themselves feel better.
Jen McNary's two sons have Duchenne muscular dystrophy, a rare muscle wasting disorder that puts kids in wheelchairs by their teens. It's generally fatal by age 30. No treatments are approved for it in the United States. McNary was one of more than 50 parents, patients, and doctors who spoke during a 2.5-hour public hearing Monday in front of a panel of outside advisors to the FDA. The panel was charged with evaluating data supporting an application for approval of a drug called eteplirsen, developed by Boston biotech company Sarepta Therapeutics. The public comments were impassioned as patients and their parents and supporters pleaded with the panel to recommend approval of a drug they're convinced is helping them.
Unless you have a child that has muscular dystrophy, you don't understand.
It's time to listen to the real experts.
FDA, please don't let me die early.
But the panel was troubled by the lack of data. Sarepta ran the key study in just 12 patients. There was no placebo control. Most drugs, even for very rare diseases, are tested in at least dozens of patients before they win approval. Given the lack of options for Duchenne, Sarepta is seeking what's known as accelerated approval, which allows smaller, faster trials.
Accelerated approval is a mechanism for the FDA to speed certain drugs to market. It's reserved for severe diseases with few or no good treatment options. And it's contingent upon the companies running confirmatory studies after the drugs are approved.
Though the FDA's Dr. Janet Woodcock emphasized the flexibility of accelerated approval Monday, the agency's review of the data was decidedly negative.
She left the door open in the last comment that she made, that we're open and we'll consider approving the drug. I think the clinical review team spent the next hour and a half saying essentially we don't believe the drug works, or at best we don't have evidence that the drug works.
Sarepta's stock was hit hard Tuesday after the panel ultimately voted that the evidence does not support even accelerated approval. But the battle isn't over yet.
What was really important for the FDA is there was a lot of input from the patients about things that couldn't be captured in a clinical trial and some of the things that they experienced. And I think that hopefully that will be used in the overall consideration.
The FDA is set to decide on whether to approve the drug by the end of May. Patient advocates are still hopeful. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Meg Tirrell in Hyattsville, Maryland.